When we look at ancient texts, we often think of stories or laws, but this is something else entirely. It's an ancient instruction manual, a blueprint from the Book of Numbers that lays out, step by step, how to set up one of the most sacred spaces in Israelite culture. So let's dive in. Okay, so put yourself in their shoes for a second. Imagine you have this incredibly important sacred space, and you need to staff it. This isn't just a hiring problem, right? It's a deeply spiritual one. How do you prepare people for a role that vital? Well, this ancient text tackles that exact question. And the first thing you have to realize is that none of this was just made up on the fly. Ancient societies, especially when they were dealing with the sacred, they had meticulous plans. This text gives us a fascinating look at one of those blueprints for creating a holy environment. And the whole plan really boils down to two crucial areas. You've got the physical environment, starting with the light, and then you have the people who are going to serve there. Both had to be prepared with incredible care. All right, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What were the actual concrete steps they had to take? The instructions here are just so precise. They cover everything from the objects to the people, beginning with the physical setup of the sanctuary itself. First things first, the light. The instruction is so simple but so specific. The 7 lamps on this golden lampstand aren't just there to look nice. Nope, they have a very specific job: to cast their light forward, to illuminate the space directly in front of them. It's all about order, focus, and clarity. And get this, the craftsmanship involved is just incredible. This was not just any old lamp. As you can see, it was a single, seamless piece of hammered gold, from its base all the way up to the flower blossoms. The text makes a huge point that it was made exactly according to a divine pattern. This thing was a masterpiece of sacred design. So once the light is set, the focus shifts from the object to the people. Because, you can't just have anybody walking off the street and start working. An entire tribe, the Levites, had to go through this whole process of purification to become ceremonially clean and ready for service. And we're not talking about a quick wash-up here. This was a detailed public ceremony with a ton of steps. It started with a symbolic cleansing, then physical prep like shaving and washing clothes. Offerings were made, and then, in what must have been a really powerful moment, the entire community of Israel actually participated by laying their hands on the Levites. It was a group act of dedication. Now, that last part, the wave offering, probably sounds a little strange to us, but it was packed with symbolism. It was a physical gesture, a way of presenting someone or something to God, setting them apart for a special purpose. In this case, the Levites themselves were the offering, dedicated completely to their new role. Okay, so we've seen the how, right? The lamp, these intricate rituals. But that brings us to the biggest question of all. Why? Why go through all this trouble? And why this specific group of people? Well, the text gives us a very clear and pretty powerful answer. I mean, this is really the heart of the matter. You've got 12 tribes of Israel. So why were the Levites singled out for this unique and incredibly demanding role? The reason had to be something deep in their shared history. And boom, here it is. The text lays it out plain and simple. The Levites are a substitute. They are taken in place of every single firstborn son from every other Israelite family. It's literally a divine trade-off. And to really get this trade, you have to rewind all the way back to Israel's origin story, the Exodus. During that final plague in Egypt, the Israelite firstborn sons were spared. And according to their tradition, this meant they were now set apart for God. They sort of belonged to him. So what you have here is this incredible swap. On one side, you have the firstborn son from every family who originally owed the sacred service. And on the other, you have the entire tribe of Levi stepping in to fulfill that duty for the entire nation. It's a brilliant solution, really, both practical and deeply spiritual. So what exactly was their job description? Well, they were there to assist the priests to do the hands-on work of the sanctuary and to perform rituals for the people. But here's a key part. Their presence also acted like a protective shield, a barrier to prevent disaster from striking if regular folks got too close to this incredibly holy site unprepared. They were guardians just as much as they were workers. Now, you've got to understand, this wasn't some temporary gig. The blueprint lays out a whole career path, a structure for a lifetime of dedicated service. A Levite's official service began at a very specific age, 25. That's when you started active duty. That was the moment you stepped into the full responsibilities of your role at the tent of meeting. But it wasn't forever. There was also a mandatory retirement age. Once you hit 50, you had to retire from the regular, physically demanding work. Your time on the front lines was complete. So, as you can see, from age 25 to 50, a Levite was in the thick of it, performing the main work. But after 50, their roles shifted. They entered this respected retirement, assisting and guiding the younger generation, passing on all that wisdom without doing the heavy lifting themselves. It's a system that's really built to last, and one that deeply valued a lifetime of experience. So when you pull back, you see that this ancient blueprint created something much more than just a workforce. It established a structured, lifelong vocation. It had a clear beginning, a period of intense duty, and a graceful transition into an advisory role, ensuring knowledge was passed down from one generation to the next. And this whole ancient plan leaves us with a fascinating question for our own time. The Levites were set apart for a role that the community decided was absolutely essential for its spiritual well-being. So think about it. What are our modern equivalents? What roles do our communities set apart as essential today? And how do we prepare and honor the people who fill them?